In December 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor.
And with that, the world changed for everyone in this country, but especially for the Japanese Americans.
Suddenly, other Americans hated them, feared them, fired them, thought they might be spies.
The U.S. government reclassified them as enemy aliens,
Removed them from their West Coast homes.
And imprisoned them in crude, barbed wire fenced camps.
imprisoned them here in the U.S.
These detention centers were euphemistically called internment camps.
Our government did this to over 110,000 Japanese American citizens.
For decades, very little about this was publicized.
In their historical novels, Jamie Ford and Julie Otsuka chronicle the persecution of Japanese Americans during World War II.
We present selections from Hotel in the Corner of Bitter and Sweet and When the Emperor Was Divine.
For the boy, it all began when he saw Chinese, real Chinese, Mr. Lee and Don Wong on the street wearing buns that said,
I am Chinese.
And Chinese, please. Later, a man stopped him on the sidewalk in front of Woolworths and said, Chink or Jap?
The boy answered, Chink, and ran away as fast as he could.
Only when he got to the corner did he turn around and shout,
Jap, Jap, I'm a Jap!
just to set the record straight. They began arresting Japanese men. They took school teachers,
Businessmen.
Doctors,
and fishmongers. The arrest seemed random, and the charges vague.
5 days after her husband was taken, the mother finally learned he was in a San Francisco detention center. His blue, pinstripe suit hung, front and center, in the closet. He asked me to leave it there, she told her son, for you to remember him by.
but the boy only remembered his father's hatless silhouette framed in the back window of the car, which took him away. The head stiff and unmoving, staring straight ahead and into the night as the car drove off slowly into the darkness.
Burning barrels appeared on the streets. The Japanese started getting rid of anything that might connect them to the War of Japan.
Letters from Nippon,
Family photos,
silk wedding kimonos.
Exquisite Japanese artwork. They burned their prized possessions, as reminders of who they had been, who they still were.
An old man wearily placed a neatly folded Japanese flag into the nearest burning barrel, saluting it as it burned.
boarded up storefronts with American flags in the windows replaced once thriving Japanese business districts. Curfews were instituted.
No Japs out after 8 p.m.
No Japs
allowed to travel more than 5 miles away from their homes.
The Japanese tea garden in Golden Gate Park was renamed the Oriental Tea Garden. Signs that read, "Instructions to all persons of Japanese ancestry," went up all over town.
Number 1, evacuees must carry with them on departure for the assembly center the following property:
Bedding and linens, no mattress.
toilet articles, extra clothing, all silverware and dishes.
Essential personal effects for each member of the family.
Number 2, no pets of any kind will be permitted.
Number 3, no personal items and no household goods will be shipped to the assembly center.
Number 4, go to the civil control station
Between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Monday, May 4th or Tuesday,
May 5th, 1942, to receive further instructions. J. L. DeWitt, Lieutenant General, U.S. Army, commanding.
they stored precious belongings in the basements of hotels, not knowing if they could ever retrieve them.
They killed their pets or released them to the streets.
They left in waves, by neighborhood, until they were all removed.
Caucasian school children celebrated knowing that entire neighborhoods of Japanese were being taken away.
All smiles, victorious in their home from battle with a hated enemy.
Even if that enemy spoke the same language and had said the Pledge of Allegiance alongside them since kindergarten.
Crude military barracks and agricultural fairgrounds were renamed Relocation Center and Camp Harmony.
Haunted by the memory of her husband's arrest, the mother wondered if she would ever see him again. She said, "That night, he asked me to go get him a glass of water. We had just gone to bed, and I was so tired. I was exhausted, so I told him to go get it himself."
Next time, I will, he said, and then he rolled over and went right to sleep.
Later, as they were taking him away, all I could think was, now he'll always be thirsty. Even now in my dreams, he's still searching for water.
At the camps, families bedded down on dirty straw mattresses, their walls merely sheets hung as curtains. With tens of thousands in each camp, they stood in line for everything: showers, food, the train.
At night, the boy woke up, crying out, "Where am I?" Sometimes he felt a hand on his shoulder, and it
His
was...
sister, telling him it was all just a bad dream. "Go back to sleep, baby," she'd whisper.
Sometimes he heard the wind blowing through the sagebrush, and he remembered he was in the desert, but he could not remember how long he had been there, or why. Sometimes he worried he was there because he had done something horribly, terribly wrong, but when he tried to remember what that might be, it would not come to him. It could be anything. Something he'd done yesterday,
Chewing the eraser off his sister's pencil.
or something he'd done a long, long time ago. Flushing his dying pet goldfish down the toilet before it was completely dead.
Held captive in the desert, he woke up longing for a glass of Coke.
Just one, with lots of ice and a straw. He would sip it slowly. He'd make it last a long, long time. A day, a week, a year even.
When it was finally time for release, the mess halls offered lectures on how to behave in the outside world.
Speak only English.
Do not walk down the street in groups of more than 3.
Do not draw attention to yourself in any way.
4 years after they'd been uprooted and imprisoned,
Japanese returned to communities who ignored them.
Feared and shunned them, or pretended they'd merely left on extended vacation.
back in school, we spoke softly and did not raise our hands, not even when we knew the answers.
We followed the rules,
Took tests.
wrote compositions.
The happiest day of my life. What I did over my summer vacation.
What I would like to be when I grow up. A fireman.
A movie star.
I'd like to be you.
At lunchtime, no one would sit with us or invite us to join in their games. And not a single one of our old friends from before would have anything to do with us.
Always, we were polite.
We said yes.
And no.
And no problem.
Go ahead.
After you.
Don't mention it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't even think about it. When our teachers asked us if everything was all right, we nodded our heads and said, yes, of course. Everything was fine.
We looked at ourselves in the mirror and did not like what we saw. Black hair, yellow skin, slanted eyes, the cruel face of the enemy.
We were guilty.
Just put it behind you.
No good.
Let it go.
A dangerous people.
You are free now.
Who could never be trusted again.
All you have to do is behave.
On the street, we tried to avoid our own reflections whenever we could.
We turned away from shiny surfaces and storefront windows. We ignored the passing glances of strangers.
Who am I? You know who I am, or you think you do. I'm your florist, your grocer, your porter, your waiter.
I'm the owner of the dry goods store on the corner of Elm.
I'm the general manager at Mitsubishi.
I'm the last packer. I'm
The oyster planter. I'm the...
cannery worker. I'm the chicken sexer. And I know a healthy young rooster when I see one.
Such a delightful little people. Everything so small and pretty.
I'm the one you call Jack.
The one you call Nip.
Slits.
Yellow belly.
I'm the one you call Gook.
I'm the one you don't see at all.
We all look alike.
I'm the slant-eyed sniper in the trees.
The saboteur in the shrubs.
Stranger at the gate.
Your houseboy.
Cook.
Gardener.
I'm the one you see everywhere.
The one you look for under your bed before you go to sleep.
I'm your worst fear. You saw what we did in Manchuria.
You remember, Danking.
You
You can't get
Pearl
Pearl Harbor out of your mind.
And I've been living here, quietly, beside you, for years, just waiting for Tojo to flash me the high sign.
So go ahead and lock me up. Take my children, take my wife.
Freeze my assets, seize my cross.
Search my office, ransack my house, cancel my insurance, auction off my business.
Hand over my lease.
Assign me a number.
Inform me of my crime.
Too
Short.
too
Dark.
too
Ugly. Too proud. Put it down in writing.
is nervous in conversation. Always laughs loudly at the wrong time. Never laughs at all.
And I'll sign on the dotted line.
Is treacherous and cunning, is ruthless, is cruel.
And if they ask you someday what it is I most wanted to say, please tell them it was this. I'm sorry.
There, that's it.
I said it.
Now can I go?